I really think of myself as an activist. But what does that mean, really? For me, it means that I'm working to try to make things more fair for other people. And some people talk about that as social justice. The idea that society, the people, should be just. That there's a slogan that you will sometimes hear when people get together that they really want to make change, and they say, without justice, there will be no peace. I really believe that. I really believe that when things are unjust, unfair, when some people have more than others, not because they worked harder, but simply because of where they were born, or that some people don't have the same opportunities, maybe because they struggle in school, or maybe because their parents were born in a different country, that somehow they get treated as less than a full person. I just believe that's wrong. And I believe that there are ways that people working together can make change. So for me in my work, even though I get to do things that I really enjoy, I get to write, I get to work with people I care about, I get to teach students, which I love, I get to go on adventures and be with them while they have adventures. The reason I'm doing those things for myself is because so few students have the chance to do science. You know, science is an area I'm working in because science is really fundamentally unjust in this country. Science is usually only for students that do really well in school. So who gets to do AP classes in high school and gets to do fun dissections and go on trips and throw stuff off the roof and see if the egg breaks and all these different projects you get to do when you're in high school? The kids that do really well in school. And I think that's fine. I just think everybody ought to have the chance to have great adventures in science and learn how the world works in a really meaningful way that's really driven by what they're curious about. And social justice work for me in my life has taken many different forms. When I was in high school, I started the first environmental action group. It was called SEE, Students for Environmental Awareness and Action. And we got some students together and we did things like put a petition together to get rid of styrofoam in the cafeteria, because styrofoam is contributing to global warming, and that was something that as a young person I was real concerned about. We also did things like when developers wanted to build houses in a wetland, a very special kind of environment, we got out and we marched alongside where they were going to develop. And so sure, we were only 14, 15 years old, but we were saying, we live here, we care about this place, and we think that what's happening is wrong. It's not healthy for the environment, it's not healthy for our lives. And that's a way that I started working for social justice. When I got to college, the Iraq War started, and I was a college student, and I worked very hard to try to reduce the amount of violence that was happening in Iraq, and especially that people did not have to get sent to Iraq against their will to fight. And I worked at Teaching Tolerance magazine when I got older, which was an opportunity for me to write, but it was a way to work for interracial and intercultural understanding in the classroom, which is a big struggle for teachers when they're suddenly faced with lots of new cultures that they're not familiar with. They have a hard time teaching, so how could they be better teachers? And now with Project Exploration, I'm still working, I believe, for social justice by trying to open doors onto adventures and perspectives that otherwise might not be open.